It seems inevitable that the Mariners are going to have some kind of injury this season that is going to make them have to call up one of their higher ranked prospects or even some of the lesser known prospects in the Mariners system. So in this video, we're going to take a look at some of the prospects in the Mariners systems that may have some sort of impact on the major league team in 2024. And we're going to start with some of the obvious ones like Ryan Bleav. Obviously, Ryan Bleav came over in the Paul Sewald trade, second baseman, shortstop. He's projected to start the year in Tacoma, but could definitely make an impact in 2024 at the major league level. In 2023, Bleav played in 128 games with 612 plate appearances between Arizona and Seattle. He stole 55 bases. Bleav is very fast. He hit 304, 378, 524 with 23 home runs. Again, second baseman and shortstop, a guy who can play up the middle for the Mariners, is probably going to start the year down in AAA just due to the fact the Mariners have a pretty full roster already. But if we see somebody like Luis Urias start to struggle at the major league level in 2024, or maybe somebody gets injured, I feel like Ryan Bleav has got to be one of the first guys up. They still do want to get him over there at second base a little bit more and make sure that he defensively feels comfortable there. With that being said, however, for the Mariners, obviously they now have Jorge Polanco, so maybe they try to move Bleav over to third base, but at the same time, Polanco can play third base as well. So maybe if, let's say, Urias or Rojas really isn't performing, you move Polanco to third base and move that platoon back to second base and bring up Ryan Bleav. MLB.com has Ryan Bleav listed as their 13th ranked Mariners prospect, and they do mention that he could be a utility guy, so he could end up replacing like a Sam Haggerty or maybe a Dylan Moore on this roster at some point as well. Next up on that list is going to be first and third baseman Tyler Locklear, who's the number 10 ranked prospect by MLB.com for the Seattle Mariners. In 2023, Tyler Locklear played in 85 games where he hit 268, 405, 502 with a 907 OPS. He hit 13 home runs with 52 RBIs and 12 stolen bags. Now, Locklear is a guy who's 23 years old. He was drafted out of college, so he's someone who is probably going to advance rather quickly through the ranks in the Mariners farm system. He already was playing in AA in 2023, where he hit 260, 383, 403 with 1 home run and 8 RBI. He also showed out in the Arizona Fall League, where he hit 284, 415, 473 in 20 games with 3 home runs and 16 RBI. Now, I again think that Locklear will probably start down in AA Arkansas, but I would not be shocked to see him moved up to Tacoma rather quickly. And if, let's say, Ty France struggles again at the major league level in 2024, they bring up Tyler Locklear and Ty France starts to see a little bit more time on the bench or possibly even finds his way off this team. They protected themselves against this a little bit with the trade for Luke Raley, just simply because Raley can play first base. But Locklear is a guy who's been comped to Christian Walker from the Diamondbacks so often that I think that if we can get any kind of production out of Locklear like we've seen out of Christian Walker, it would be perfect for the Seattle Mariners, especially as a replacement for Ty France over there eventually if he does indeed struggle. You can throw him over there at third base. It's not going to be pretty, but you can if you need to. First base is probably where I would expect Tyler Locklear to end up at. I think that overall Locklear has a slim chance to make this roster at some point this year, barring injury of course, maybe towards the end of the year in like the latter half of the season. But really, it's going to depend on how well Ty France plays in 2024. Tyler Locklear is more of a backup to the backup to maybe even the backup at this point, especially after getting Luke Raley. I think they're going to give Tyler Locklear plenty of time to develop and maybe be the first baseman of the future for the Seattle Mariners. We've talked about the Diamondbacks a lot already in this video, and we're going to do it again here with Carlos Vargas, who was acquired in the Eugenio Suarez trade. I think that Vargas, and I think we all know, that Vargas can be very good. He throws incredibly hard, harder than Andres Munoz does on average. He does have a slider, but Vargas's biggest problem is locating. We have seen it plenty of times with guys in the past. Yohan Ramirez, for example, is a guy that comes to mind. Thiago Vieira, of course. These guys that can't find the strike zone and end up out of the league because, frankly, they just walk too many guys. Vargas has that potential, but overall, if the Mariners pitching lab can just dial him in a little bit, Vargas can be one of the most volatile guys in all of baseball. Vargas did pitch in the major leagues last year in just 5 innings, 4 2/3 innings pitched. He gave up 3 earned runs, striking out 7 while walking 4. In 2023, with the Arizona Diamondbacks down in the PCL, he had a 7.02 ERA and 42 1/3 innings pitched with a 2.102 WHIP, where he had gone out and walked 32 guys in those 42 innings. He also doesn't strike a whole lot of hitters out, with his Ks per 9 in 2023 with the Arizona Diamondbacks at just 7.7. Again, there's really not a whole lot to go off here for Carlos Vargas on his Baseball Savant page because he did only just pitch a few innings. You can see here in 2023, he did have a high whiff rate and a high K rate, but again, just a couple of innings pitched, so it's really not anything to look at here. So you may be asking yourself, Colton, why are we even talking about Carlos Vargas? And it really is just because of that potential. With how good the Mariners pitching lab is, Carlos Vargas is a guy that they may be able to turn around and turn into something much better than he has been in the minor leagues. Honestly, he's struggled. He has all the potential in the world, but he just can't find a way to find the strike zone. I think that Carlos Vargas is a guy who is going to be very boom or bust. The Mariners are either going to turn him around and turn him into something big, or he'll be off the roster by the end of the year, probably going to pitch in Japan or something like that, just simply because he can't find the strike zone. Again, we're going off potential here. I know a lot of guys in the Mariners fan base are high on Carlos Vargas. If he can find the strike zone, he could be another elite option for the Mariners in that bullpen. Listen, it's hard to come up with prospects that might help this team in 2024, simply because this team is very complete as it feels. I know Accent will have some comments down below talking about the prospect rankings, and Accent, I welcome it. But now we're going to talk about some guys that are on the outside looking in on making this roster at any point this year, but maybe have a very, very, and I mean very slim chance. And I know what all the fans are thinking. Harry Ford. Now, in my opinion, Harry Ford is in no way, shape, or form ready to be in the major leagues at any point in 2024, but everybody talks about him, at least some of the fans talk about, you know, hey, let's bring him up, maybe let's try him at third or something like that, or get Raleigh DH days. Harry Ford's not ready, guys. And other than the fact that he's not even 21 years old yet, which plays a big role, he needs time to develop as a catcher. He needs time to, if let's say the Mariners do end up losing Raleigh in a few years, Harry Ford needs all the time in the world to go out there and perfect his craft and make sure that he's ready at the big league level, because we've seen that he can hit for the most part, but he honestly struggled in 2023. Now, Major League Baseball has Harry Ford ranked at the number 38 prospect in all of baseball going into 2024. In 2023, Ford hit .257, .410, .430 with 15 home runs and 67 RBI. The big thing here for Harry Ford is 103 walks to 109 strikeouts. Harry Ford knows how to control the zone better than most guys in the Mariners minor league system. He was in high A ball with Everett in 2023. I said there's a decent chance that Ford starts the year with Everett again, although I wouldn't be shocked to see him start the year with Arkansas because he did play 118 games with Everett in 2023. Now, we all saw what he could do when he was playing for Great Britain in the WBC. We all know the potential with Harry Ford, but again, he's not even 21 years old yet. He did struggle in the Arizona Fall League as well, for what that's worth, although he only played in 7 games. And MLB.com does agree. They have him set in 2025 as his ETA. I would say that's probably more like it, and I wouldn't be shocked if it was towards the end of 2025 for Harry Ford. Next, we have Cole Young, and I know a lot of people have been talking about bringing up Cole Young at some point this season, especially if the middle infield turns out to not be what we think it should be, but his ETA is also 2025. He's also 20 years old. He was born in 2003. Oh my God, I'm old. Baseball America had Cole Young ranked one spot ahead of Harry Ford in the pre-2024 rankings of MLB prospects at number 37. Played in both Modesto and High A in Everett in 2023. In 126 games, he hit .277, .399, .499 with an .848 OPS with 11 home runs, 62 RBI, 22 stolen bags. He struck out 90 times and walked 88 times. He performed really well when he got up to Everett, where he hit .292, .404, .479 with 6 of his 11 home runs with 23 RBIs, and he played in 48 games when he was with Everett. If you want my honest opinion, I think that Cole Young is closer to the majors than Harry Ford is. I think that he will start the year in Double-A Arkansas, simply because there are a lot of guys down in the minor league levels, at the lower levels of the minors right now, who are vying for spots at shortstop and second base. Eventually, I do think that Cole Young will probably be a second baseman, but if the Mariners can keep him at shortstop, they may as well. I think that he'll go up to Arkansas in 2024 and hopefully continue to rake there. So maybe we see a late season call-up, kind of like an Evan Carter call-up, if you will, that the Mariners are just struggling out there at either second base, shortstop, or even third base, depending on how, what all is going on with this team later in this season. But again, Cole Young's a guy who just turned 20 years old in July of last year. I think that he will be another guy who would come up, again, maybe a little earlier than Harry Ford in 2025, but still not until at least the middle of 2025. Now, here's one that I find interesting to throw out there, and that is Alberto Rodriguez. Obviously, a former good friend of Noelvi Marte. The Mariners got Rodriguez when they traded Taijuan Walker to the Blue Jays years and years ago, and Rodriguez kind of had a resurgent year in 2023, but he's kind of a man left without a position. He's ranked 16th on the Mariners' top 30 prospects. He's 23 years old and in Double-A. In 2023, between Everett and Arkansas, Rodriguez played in 118 games where he hit 300, 381, 504 with 14 home runs and 85 RBIs with 8 stolen bags. He did strike out 120 times. That's the big thing for Alberto Rodriguez, is he strikes out quite a bit with 51 walks. This coming off of a year in 2022 where he didn't really perform in Everett. He was repeating the level after he had been there in 2021, and he again played there in 2023. But in 2022, he hit 261, 336, 396 with 10 home runs, 46 RBIs, 50 walks to 138 strikeouts in 119 games. Now, Rodriguez is an outfielder for the Seattle Mariners, but again, he really is probably better suited for a DH spot, but you could probably throw him in a corner outfield spot if you needed to. If you're the Mariners, I just don't see Alberto Rodriguez coming up unless something goes drastically wrong. And even then, you still might be more likely to call up guys like Jonathan Clase or something like that. But you have so many guys in the outfield right now with your quad A outfielders, including Taylor Trammell, Cade Marlowe, etc. Those guys are going to be ahead of Alberto Rodriguez, in my opinion. Although Rodriguez, I think, deserves a chance at some point. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if he restarted the year in Double-A and then moved his way up to Triple-A later in the season. To be fair, he did still hit pretty well when he made it to Arkansas. In 46 games, he hit 291, 361, 386. So definitely a fall off in the power here, as you can see by his only 3 home runs. But it's not like Rodriguez just fell off the face of the earth, kind of like he had done back in 2022. In my opinion, the best case scenario would be that we don't see any of these guys in 2024, just because that means someone probably got hurt or somebody is underperforming. I think all of these guys do have a chance to crack the Major League roster in the upcoming years, maybe in 2025. But overall, this roster is so set right now in 2024. I think the Mariners are probably going to keep these guys down in the minor leagues. But if you're looking for other predictions, I did make a video about my bold predictions for the 2024 season, and number 1 is kind of crazy. I want you guys to go check that one out next. I appreciate you guys watching this one, and go Mariners.